We've all seen the sci-fi movies, right? Well, Tesla's Robotaxi program was supposed to make all that stuff real. I mean, the promise of a fully autonomous future has always felt like it's just around the corner, but some pretty recent news is forcing a major reality check.
So let's just start with one single number. 3. Yeah, 3. In just the first 7,000 miles of Tesla's big robotaxi test out in Austin, Texas, that's how many crashes were reported. Now, it might not sound like a huge number, but wow, it tells a really big story about the massive gap between the dream and, well, where we are right now. And what an incredible dream it is, right? I mean, the whole idea of a fleet of self-driving cars just whisking us around town, that's the kind of future we've been promised for years. It's a vision that could totally change how we live, how we work, and how we get around. And this sales pitch, it goes way beyond just being convenient. The promise is a better world, dramatically fewer accidents, traffic that's silky smooth because all the cars are talking to each other, and all that time we used to spend stuck behind the wheel is suddenly ours again. That's the big, beautiful picture they've been painting for years. But like we saw with that number 3, the vision is hitting a few, let's call them potholes. The big test program in Austin was supposed to be this huge leap forward. Instead, as a report from Ars Technica really laid out, it's been a very bumpy start. And this quote, this just perfectly captures the feeling right now. What was supposed to feel like the dawn of a new age is, for a lot of people, starting to feel, well, a little premature. It really shines a light on that critical and sometimes painful phase where a cool new idea gets tested in the real world, flaws and all. Okay, so let's look at the hard data one more time. We're in Austin. After 7,000 miles of driving, we've got 3 reported crashes. And we have to remember, these aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. These are real incidents on public roads, which, as you can imagine, is raising some serious questions for everybody. And that brings us to the big question. Why does this matter so much? I mean, it's a test program, right? You're supposed to find problems. But the kind of problems they're finding here have much wider implications. Because look, this isn't just about some bad press for a day or two. When one of these driverless cars hesitates or messes up, it can grind traffic to a halt for everybody else. It can put its own passengers in really uncomfortable, maybe even dangerous spots. And here's the kicker. High-profile stumbles like this can actually scare people away from buying an electric vehicle at all, which in the long run slows down that huge, super important mission of moving to cleaner air. And you gotta understand, these Austin crashes, they're not happening in some isolated bubble. They're actually part of a much wider pattern of recent headaches for the company. And when you put them all together, they start to paint a bigger, more concerning picture. I mean, just think about it. At the same time this is happening, the company's facing a shareholder lawsuit over safety risks. Then, a video goes viral of a robotaxi just stuck, frozen, can't make a simple left turn. On top of that, they scrap the most affordable Cybertruck and they cancel a new store in London because of protests. It all adds up to a period of some serious turbulence. But hold on, is it all just bad news? Well, not exactly. It's really important to separate the different parts of this technology, because while one piece of it is clearly struggling, another is showing some absolutely incredible promise. So here's the key difference we've got to make. The software, the brain, the AI that's actually doing the driving, it clearly needs more time in the oven. The Austin test proves that, no question. But the hardware, the physical car itself, the battery, the motors, that's a whole different story, and it's a really positive one. Hey, remember that number 3 from the beginning? Well, here's the counterpoint. Hundreds of thousands. That's how many miles one of these Teslas has reportedly run as a robotaxi on its original battery. That is a massive testament to the durability and the longevity of the core EV tech. The cars themselves, they are absolutely built to last. So what does all this mean for you? For anyone watching the EV space, or maybe even thinking about buying one? How in the world do you sort through all the headlines and the hype? Look, the bottom line is this. It's all about weighing the hype against the cold, hard reality. The promise of a self-driving future is unbelievably exciting, no doubt. But as a consumer, it's so important to focus on what the technology can actually do today. And that means looking at the real data, reading the reports, and really separating that marketing vision from what's actually happening on the road. Which kind of leaves us with this final thought, doesn't it? The hardware, the car itself, seems ready to run a marathon.
but the software, the brain, is still stumbling just a few miles from the starting line. It really makes you wonder, is that fully autonomous future just around the next corner? Or is it actually much, much further down the road than we thought?